Hey, what's up? Two disclaimers before this video starts. One, you absolutely do not have to agree with me on anything I'm about to say. However, I do encourage you to, at any point in which you feel welcome, leave a comment down below. Two, the premise of this video, why am I not playing the latest version of Minecraft? As you can see. Specifically, this is Minecraft version 1.13.2, and for me, personally, as somebody who's played Minecraft since the Pocket Edition demo version from like 2011, maybe 2012, I don't remember fully, Minecraft has struck itself, to me, as a game where you plop into a weird looking world and everything is so subtle that you understand you could do whatever you want. There's nothing beckoning your attention, none of that. And now while you can find things thanks to the wacky terrain generation that this game offers, or this version of the game offers, like you have to go out and search for it. It's not just something that immediately shows to you. Unless you get a real lucky spawn. So that would explain why world seeds ever became a trending thing to share with other people on the internet. But I feel like in comparison to later versions of the game and their terrain generation, it really feels as if it's trying to harp on people that are very easily impressed. And hold on, let me reposition my microphone. There. I don't know whether to say that I don't like things that seem to really try and impress upon you, or whatever else might describe what I'm thinking right now, but that is what I feel about Minecraft's new terrain generation. So I guess that also dives into structures. I mean, there's a ton to talk about because onward from 1.13, there's been quite a number of things added. There was the Village and Pillage update of 1.14, which added, I think, Woodland Mansions as well as Pillager Outposts, but then completely revamped the way that villages generate as well as the specifics of the buildings they're in. And then there was the texture overhaul as well. I honestly do not like the new textures. I mean, it's okay to like them, I'm not about to argue against that, but it almost removed from the simplicity of Minecraft. Like, Minecraft was a game that was through and through simple as I grew up playing it, even down to the textures, which were at the time hilariously simple. People always clowned Minecraft for having, quote, bad graphics. To me, the new textures feel almost too smooth. Like, I'm able to mistake, what is it, andesite with gravel almost, if I just look at it wrong. Or andesite with smooth stone or regular stone. And so because of those things, I don't know, I really just get a bad impression from the new graphics. And then back on structures, there was 1.16's entire overhaul to the Nether, and next thing we know, we can't even find Nether fortresses properly because Piglin bastions and Piglin ruins are spawning 3 and 4 times as much. I mean, even to the point that they're masking the places that Nether fortresses are usually supposed to spawn. And to me, that's almost ignorant of the fact that people need to go there in order to progress through the optional story that Minecraft has, or just the optional progression to, quote, beat the game. And then the whole thing with piglins, and, you know, now they're zombie piglins instead of zombie pigmen. Whole entire Easter egg from archaic versions of Minecraft just wiped. Like that, gone. I mean, apparently pigmen were supposed to be like the dead versions of old, like real old villagers, and the Nether was supposed to be a much darker theme, but what we ended up getting was what we ended up getting thanks to the later changes, which, fine, I guess. If Minecraft wants to appeal more to children than any other audience, cool. Just as a game that has a legacy, content-wise, not like surrounding the people who made the game, a change like that just doesn't sit right to a long-time player such as me, who, in all honesty, like just being honest with myself, cares about artistic intent and theme, because that started what ended up being not redundancy, well, partly redundancy for a reason that I'm about to explain, but also inconsistency, that's the word. Inconsistency on the part that, okay, well, we now have two things, but only one of them has lore, and the other thing is game progression. And then the redundancy part of it is like the Nether Fortress, when it spawns in its fullness, has these little corner places where there are chests with decent fancy loot. And then Piglin Bastions and Piglin Ruins, meanwhile, are nothing but loot. Just high risk, high reward at the cost of angering piglins and sneak past piglin brutes. And while it's cool in concept and even more cool in gameplay, I wish they had just overhauled Nether Fortresses in general. But again, what we got is what we got. Can't really change it now, so no point in, I guess, suggesting things. Because I gotta be honest with you, Mojang has had its history in ignoring very, very, very good update requests. And I'll get into Mojang's stubbornness later as I talk about versions 1.17 to 1.19, because that's where that stuff really started to show. What else was there about 1.16? Oh, yeah. So, in comparison to 1.14, we didn't just get an overhaul to something familiar, but we also got new content on the side of it. And while 1.16 continued that trend, I think 1.14 and 1.16 both failed to do what 1.13 I think got perfect. And the whole thing that I'm trying to say is 1.13 didn't replace anything. It only made additions and enhancements too. While it could be argued that villagers absolutely needed an overhaul, did it mean replacing the entire aesthetic of the game? Did it also mean bringing an entire shift to what, the image of villagers even is? Because before pillagers, all we also had were witches. and they only spawn in swamps and little huts. And the thing is, even to today, we haven't had a single expansion upon them either. There's not only redundancy, there's not only inconsistency, but then there's also just complete forgetfulness and, dare I say, incompetence in making sure that as Minecraft is pushed forward, everything that has been known about the game is also pushed forward with it. Now going into 1.17 and 1.19, we've had so many new biomes and terrain generation changes by now that old biomes that have been there since the beginning, like the spruce biome, I forget what they call it. I'm gonna just call it spruce tree biome. Stuff like this on its own is hard to find now. The regular jungle, hard to find now. Mushroom Islands, they were already super rare, but now it's near impossible to find one. And all of that to me feels, as I've been saying, incompetent, because why have they not kept this stuff, all the legacy of Minecraft in mind as they've continued these updates? And so now the game is almost, adjective word, derelict of what it was in versions like this one. And so through 1.17 to 1.19, what was supposed to be all one update that was called Caves and Cliffs, ended up being spread through 3 updates over, 2021 to, or 2020 to 2022, I think. I mean, it took years for them to finally get all their stuff together and then still not fulfill all the promises that were supposed to be. And then they made the excuse of, just because we made the promise doesn't mean we have to fulfill it. Then why are you doing that? I mean, at that point, you're falsely advertising and getting people hyped for nothing. And then meanwhile, on the side, there was the mob votes. Well, I mean, I don't think I even want to get into that, to be honest with you. It was nothing but community drama, and all things community drama in regard to Minecraft, I don't want to talk about in this video. Maybe I could save that for a later video. But I think I'm just going to go back to the terrain and biome changes. So we not only got the stuff that I talked about earlier, the general change in the shape of land masses and whatnot, new biomes such as a new birch forest variant, a new flower field variant, the cherry blossom biome, the creeking biome. I think that was actually 1.20 or something, but and then for caves, we got the lush caves, the dripstone caves, the chasms, and then the deep slate caves, like everything below 0. Yeah, everything below Y0. There was the deep dark too, I almost forgot. There was just this entirely new pool of stuff to generate, and yet everything that came before it was just forgotten. Because now we also have variants of the jungle, I think. There's the sparse jungle, bamboo jungle, and then I think there's another variant of the jungle. I don't remember what specifically. But there's so much now that it's almost hard to find the actual jungle, so you can get cocoa beans as well as jungle tree wood and saplings. And here's where I start to mention the stubbornness of Mojang, because through those updates, we started to see an upward trend of people making fair critiques and fair complaints about certain mobs being overpowered. The warden. Why can't we kill the warden? Oh, you're not supposed to. You've been able to kill everything in the game up to this point with no issue. Even the final boss of the game. The Ender Dragon. The side boss of the game. The Wither. Why can't we kill this just because it's not intended by the devs? And so, while people complained about that, it ended up just going off ignored. But I wonder if at any point a nerf to the warden was discussed, and if it was ever turned down. Because beyond 1.19, I genuinely stopped paying attention to Minecraft updates unless people wanted to play the latest versions of the game, like 1.20 and onward. Which I did play with them, and I did end up discovering new things like the trial chambers, the mace, spears. I've never seen the scythe yet, but that's just more on my talking point about the inconsistency in the updates. But back onto my talk about Mojang's stubbornness to what very well was the continuity of the old part of the fan base saying, hey, what are you doing to the game that we've always known and loved? Explain, or at least provide a fix. And every time Mojang was just like, no, So with 1.17, we also got, oh, no. I didn't even finish talking about the biomes yet. The thing about those biomes, the deep dark cherry blossom biome, mangrove swamp, the creeking biome, I don't know what it's actually called, but day 0 on the update, the stuff was so scarce that even when you did finally find the biome, it was too small to even spawn anticipated features. For the deep dark, it was the ancient cities. Nobody could find any because the biome would never spawn large enough. For the mangrove swamp, they had to update it so that it would spawn larger, taking up part of swamps now, so that people could find the mangrove trees, the mangrove roots, as well as frogs. And then not to mention the incompetence in, oh, we don't want to add fireflies because we don't want people's IRL frogs to be croaking. People are going to sit their frogs down in front of their Minecraft game? Like, that's the same logic as far back. No, you can't ride dolphins because that's cruel. Even though you've been able to put a saddle on a pig, lead it with a carrot on a stick, get an achievement for leading the pig off of a cliff and killing it. When pigs fly, if you know, you know. I don't know what this new wave or new age of Minecraft's idealisms are. And I hate to sound political about it, but I have no other idea of how to address it because it almost feels pseudo-political. Like, it's almost as if Mojang is making PR stunts more than developing a game. And so what then? Do players like me just sit on deprecated old legacy versions of the game like this, sit around waiting for people to make mods until eventually that fades out and we're just stuck on the vanilla version for as long as we wish to continue playing it? And then 1.17 added copper. Yeah, that's where I was gonna go with this. It wasn't just copper, but it was also amethyst. But for whatever reason, the big issue was with copper. Oh, copper's useless. Why would you guys add a whole new entire ore to the game and then make it have 0 uses? Which was a fair critique because this update followed 1.16, which added the new strongest ore to the game, netherite. And so even though netherite had its complaints also, like, why is there something stronger than diamond? For all this time, the strongest ore has been diamond. Why? And then, I mean, it makes sense that they would though, because the ore was hard as heck to get day 1 of the release. But then for whatever reason, updates later, they make it so that it's even harder to apply the ore to whatever diamond tools you already have. Now you're forced to run off to a piglin bastion and grab an upgrade template, then spend an extra 8 diamonds for every duplicate of that template you want to make to apply to whatever tool or armor you have. And this was right when players were complaining, hey, there's not enough progression in this game, or that the progression doesn't make sense. You can like skip, hop, and jump through the progression as much as you like. And that's because a lot of new players for Minecraft don't understand that this was not supposed to be that type of game. Minecraft was supposed to be a free roam game where you literally just settle down somewhere, build something, or choose to walk off somewhere else to do it all over again. Simple graphics, simple challenges, the mobs that are spawning all around me right now. And that was that. The legacy versions, as I've said, tried to make a continuity of that and continue to add new fantasy and adventure elements, if I did say that. But then suddenly 1.14 onward comes along, and there's this like switch to appeal to something new, which completely ignores the old audiences of Minecraft. And now that they're complaining, suddenly there's this new bandwagon audience that's also complaining, but for different reasons. And then on another split, another audience that's literally only praising the game to counterbalance the critique for whatever reason. None of these other two groups actually like the game. They like what the game has changed into, or they like to complain and be part of something. Either way, Minecraft very newly has decided to appeal to one of those 3 parts of the current audience. Guess which? The one that's praising the game for whatever new thing they add. Again, 1.17 through 1.19. Genuine players complain that the copper is useless. These players say, oh, you need to be more grateful, at least they're still updating the game, isn't it like 10 plus years old? And the next thing we know, we get full on armor set, tool set, all copper. We get an entire structure in the game, and this is beyond 1.19 at this point, that is made entirely of this copper. The trial chambers. Now there's more copper blocks in the game than there are variants of stone or wood. No one block, I don't think, should take up that much. And so now Minecraft players are confused, like, well, what are we supposed to do with all this? I know the builders are satisfied at least because they have more to work with. And then these new gen players, the hype train side of the new gen players, I'll call them from now on, they're happy because it's new content, and this new split between Minecraft fan bases just absolutely loves all things cutesy, all things aesthetic, all things sparkle emoji. And so Minecraft is continuing to appeal to these people throughout 1.17 and onward, because now we're getting like updates that are only dedicated to adding cute animals or changing pre-existing animals, wolves, to sound more cute. They're wolves. If you understand what I'm talking about right now, the new sounds for wolves. Why do wolves sound like yappy, whiny house dogs? That doesn't make sense. Everything else in the game still sounds generic as it always has. And then we have the new variants of mobs that spawn based on what biome you're in. Oh, speaking of wolves. So this whole time, this one new side of the audience is getting everything they could possibly ask for as a counterbalance. And as a spite to the other two sides of the Minecraft audience, the old and genuine players, and then the people who are all about PvP, I suppose. Yeah, the side that's always critiquing Minecraft hatefully and non-constructively are the people who are obsessed with PvP and weapons and the usefulness of items and quote-unquote game progression. The genuine Minecraft players, I feel, want a balance between all of that stuff. And they are the people not getting it. They're the people who aren't getting a thing. But still, Mojang very recently has attempted to make these efforts. And so, dare I say, this more hateful and aggressive side of the new Minecraft audience, that split, is a little smooth-brained. Just like the other side that likes all the cutesy aesthetic stuff. They get these new weapons, they get the mace, which looks like a import from Minecraft Dungeons, does not fit with any of the initial themes, textures, artistic style of Minecraft up to 1.13 at all. But not that it matters, because literally the next port over, or the next version over, everything thematically and artistically changed. Then we had the scythe, which looks like something out of a mod pack. Ironically, Mojang Studios are the people responsible for the game that avoids implementing any and all things that might reflect what a mod maker has already done. And even before that, we got mob variants, which also was already a thing from a mod pack. So maybe they let down their shields on that, no pun intended. But to what avail? Because then we had the spear, which looks like a classic Minecraft item. I mean, the textures don't even fit Legacy Minecraft. And then the animations for it are so what even. Your arm raises like a 45 degrees, very uncanny looking. The spear is like flat horizontal instead of flat vertical in your hand. In a mob's hand, the zombies who ride zombie horses. And I thought zombie horses were supposed to be an ultra rare spawn. Now they're just the equivalent of spider jockeys. And so fully, I'm questioning where the creative head for Minecraft is at this point. Because we've gotten so much change, and yet while it was initially good, it quickly just spiraled off into nonsense, hoping to appeal to somebody, anybody. And all we had to do was stay in line with the initial thematics of what made Minecraft popular in the first place. And so that's another major talking point, because why didn't they? Now, what I'm about to say, I honestly hate to bring up because it's drama. Again, it's community drama. And I know I said I'm not going to bring up any more community drama, but the original programmer for Minecraft, Marcus Pearson Notch, had his drama on Twitter. And it seems like from that point, Minecraft has had a span, just this huge span, this one big PR move to completely shift over, clean slate the game, and make it seem like he's never even put his hands on it in the first place. And so, while that is conspiracy, if that ends up being partly truth, I get it, but why did it have to end up like this? I mean, this could have been taken in such a different direction. Hold on, because it feels like they wanted to at least keep something of old Minecraft intact, but from 1.17 being an update that was worked on in quarantine, everything spiraled from there, as well as with the mob votes, because it was just hard to keep up with everybody who was in the creative process. And so from that point, it feels like they didn't really want to try on anything super duper complicated anymore because of the amount of backlash and negative feedback there was. And so that would probably explain why everything moved over to being nothing but this cutesy, smooth-brained, aesthetic appealing series of updates that were 1.20 onward. To that, I just have to ask, what do the rest of us Minecraft players do? What do the people who play Minecraft for the appeal of the legacy versions do at this rate? Because I know that there are people who are from the legacy days and even the classic version days that would look at Minecraft now and still be in full head bobbing approval. But to the people who aren't, again, are we just supposed to sit on versions like this, say wait for a mod pack or two to release to still be entertained with new content, and then by the time that all fans out, just be content with what we have until we're fully bored and decide, yeah, I'm just gonna move on to a new game? I don't want to have to move to an entirely different game just to feel like I haven't been let down anymore. Minecraft has been in a weird place for years now, I feel like, and it still is, thanks to the many problems that did go on with Bedrock Edition outside of main game content, and that was with like marketplace content being utterly scammy. And there was even one incident where, I mean, they stopped hiding, or they were a little too reckless with trying to get players to look at the marketplace more than they did the actual game. Because at one point, the marketplace took up the entire right side of the create world menu. And then even in the pause menu, there was just this big shining button that said marketplace in the middle of all the regular gray buttons for world settings and exit to menu and all the rest. And so I'm wondering, because of what happened with Marcus Pearson, is it that they are literally just doing whatever the heck they want with the game at this point because they feel it doesn't deserve, to shine anymore? Or is there something else going on with Microsoft? Because Microsoft is, the parent company of Mojang at this point. And me, a longtime Minecraft player, I'm confused. Where are we taking this game? And I don't even think I've talked about every last thing that there should be, that should have been talked about when it comes to the changes and updates. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is the reason I play legacy Minecraft versions even today over the latest updates is because new Minecraft feels like a terrible and intentional facelift. And while everything was absolutely amazing in concept, and for some updates, even in gameplay, everything en masse is like what it turned into. The full entire image of it feels less like Minecraft than the version that I'm playing and further back. And to be honest with you, that gives me a bit of heartache, because I've been playing this game for a very long time. I still love this game, and I would like to see it doing better. And I know I'm not the first to say that, absolutely not. But the fact that people are still saying it, me or anyone else, and the fact that people have even given up and just decided to do what I'm doing right now, just sit on an old version for the rest of their days. What happened? And I don't even think I've talked about all the balance issues beyond just the warden, because there was also the mace, if I remember correctly, could one-tap the Ender Dragon. End of the game boss, by the way. And what was another inconsistency that I remember? There was something about... I'm gonna have to wind back to the terrain changes, because another imbalance thing, with the way that caves now generate, the big problem and imbalance that I see with that is the fact of the matter that I have to spend about 3 times the torches and pickaxe durability for only a third of the, the loot reaped. Because out of caves in this version of the game and earlier, I could come out with a more successful ore haul with a stone pickaxe than the latest caves with a diamond unbreaking 3 pickaxe. And not even because the pickaxe breaks, I mean literally because I just can't find anything and I give up. I have to get out the cave, find a new one. So much more in the latest versions of the game compared to this one. I think I've said everything. Maybe I'll just recap at this point to make sure. 1.14 was okay, but it was the start of a trend that I didn't realize would be the replacement of all things near and dear about Minecraft, rather than proper enhancements, proper game updates too. 1.15 I skipped because it wasn't really much. The addition of bees, some stuff for farming, and then a ton of bug fixes. 1.16 continued the trend of things being replaced and getting a facelift, because now the entirety, unlike just one feature in the overworld being overhauled, we now had an overhaul to the entirety of one of 3 of the game's dimensions. The Nether gets a complete overhaul because why not? Mojang Studios decided to. We now get piglins instead of zombie pigmen, and bastions, which spawn 3 to 5 times more than your average nether fortress, getting in the way of them and making it hard to actually progress through the game if you want to. And so 1.17 comes around, now the overworld is getting overhauled too. It's harder to find ores, you have to spend 3 times as much torches, go through about, depending on how lit up the caves are, maybe up to 5 times the danger. People don't even want to mine as much anymore because of it. And so people are starting to critique the game a lot more and say, hey, why are we doing this? This isn't good. This needs to be rebalanced. And so then comes another part of the fan base that says, no, it's great. It's amazing. You guys ought to be grateful. This game's so old and it's still getting updates. Blah this, blah that. Mojang Studios realizes something. Hey, let's start appealing to these people, because they're gonna say yes to the updates no matter what. So they start adding cutesy things, the axolotl, the lush caves, the azalea trees. I completely forgot to mention that. And now people are using moss for aesthetic builds, and they realize, oh, people like this part of the fan base, this new part of the fan base likes aesthetics. So they continue that with the 1.19 with the wild update. And so, mind you, 1.19 is part of the final promises that were mentioned in the what was supposed to be just the 1.17 update, and they still don't fully deliver because, oh, game development is hard. Y'all done already got past the hard part. Start delivering fully. Start delivering properly. But still, we get told by that part of the fan base, y'all should be more grateful. Blah this, blah that. And so then comes this other part of the fan base that's a lot more aggressive than, I guess, the neutral and true Minecraft players. While those aggressive fans are more central to PvP and game progression, this other new side is focused on building and aesthetics, and then the core side, who's been there for much longer than both, just wants balance and equal content for everybody who does every last thing in the game. The people who do the redstone, the people who do farming, the people who do building, the people who do combat and adventure. Just equal and opportune updates for everybody. And out of all three of those groups, the people who just want cutesy building stuff, cutesy pets, are getting the most out of it with every new update, it seems. And for whatever reason, these other two new splits of the fan base appeared during the mob votes, which happened all throughout 1.17 and 1.19. And so then by 1.20, the core of the fan base was exhausted, I think. It feels like Minecraft had some sort of fatigue with all these changes because no matter what, people weren't happy. So 1.20 comes along, Minecraft decides, okay, let's try and appeal again to the people who want adventure, people who want fantasy, people who want combat. And what do we get out of that? Minecraft dungeons in vanilla Minecraft, the trial chambers. Oh, and I forgot to mention all the appeal to the cutesy aesthetic Minecraft players. What was it? The lush caves, the sniffer. To date, I still don't understand what the sniffer was ever added for. You can't even find the thing. All right, we got the happy gas. Dog. For transportation, even with the things that it does offer, it sucks. The thing is slower than walking with slowness. I mean, but hey, the cutesy aesthetic side of the Minecraft fan base, they love it. Shoot. Because it's cute. That's it. Mojang knows what they're doing. And tracing back through the updates and seeing what exactly was added and what surrounded that very feature being added, you start to see the cracks. But trial chambers come along. The people who are already tired of copper, great. Now there is an entire thing made out of copper that just spawns randomly underground. This huge maze that now spawns underground, where you can get every drop out of the game imaginable, nearly. Mob drops, item drops, weapon drops, whatever. Just like the piglin bastions to the nether fortresses, these things are like replacements to the OG mob spawners. We didn't just want to, overhaul those like we did the villages back in 1.14. And so now, not only are the OG mob spawners made obsolete by these, but then also what feels like jungle temples and desert temples also. I mean, what's the point of looking for any of those when it comes to loot when you can get everything out of just trial chambers? And maybe I am missing some points on that. Maybe there are certain things you can get out of the other two which you can't get out of the other three, but I think at one point also in the later updates, saddles are now craftable. So you really don't need the mob spawners anymore because they were like the exclusive place for saddles. And so again, I'm saying new Minecraft feels like such a intentional replacement to old Minecraft. Again, I'm puzzled why they would leave Legacy behind, knowing that they still have a huge fan base that's looking for enhancements and additions to that, rather than a complete and utter facelift. There are so many features that have been left behind that the core of the Minecraft fan base, again, is fatigued. They're going back to old versions and sticking to them. They're going back to old mod packs and sticking to them. People are porting new features back to old versions. I mean, what are we doing? And then it also feels like, and this might be a stretch, the ancient cities from, I think it was 1.18, 1.19, I don't remember what specifically. They almost feel like a replacement to, a high risk, high reward replacement to mine shafts. I mean, as was the piglin bastions to the nether fortresses. I mean, at this point, neither abandoned mineshafts nor ancient cities, neither of them have anything to do with the game progression. They're just things you can find, nice things you can find for loot, as are the jungle temples and desert temples. And I keep saying that, but I don't see mineshafts spawning in the stone cave depths anymore. They are always spawning in the deep slate levels, which is also where the ancient cities spawn. Like, where is this negligence coming from? And I've already talked about the weapons of 1.20 onward. From the mace to the spear. I mean, I really don't know what else to say. At this point, I've covered most of everything, did review, reiterated, and then covered the things which I missed. I think I just have a lot of heartache as a longtime Minecraft player. I've watched this game turn from something with intent down to the music to something that is there merely to spite what once existed. And then salt in the wound appeal only to the people who could care less about what the game once was when it first was made. And then, why is it that Minecraft now has this insistence on selling things to people which they could get for free? You can make a custom skin in Bedrock Edition now. I mean, console players in particular always dreamed about having a custom skin. Now they can do it, but there's still an insistence on selling people skins. To the point that there are literal duplicates of Minecraft skin packs out there. I mean, this stuff looks like NFTs, the way that it's literally the same exact skin, but a different color. And sometimes it won't be a different color. As I said, it will literally just be a copy-paste. And then same with emotes. Why is this Fortnite? Why do we need emotes in a game about mining and crafting and then surviving fantasy monsters that come after you at night? Why do we need these things? Let me say this. For a game to be the best-selling game in the world, we do not need all this money, extra money. It's as if I work for Mojang Studios. But I definitely think Minecraft needs a new creative director or a new creative lead. I don't know who it is right now, but I might catch a bit of flack if it ends up being who I think it is. And I'll leave that at that. I mean, but look at this terrain generation. This just happened. This was not a preset. Oh, I think... Did I mention that already? If I did, I'm gonna cut everything else I'm about to say. It feels like new Minecraft is really trying to force what old Minecraft was just able to do. Like, yes, it did somewhat make the performance better, but I'd rather lose like 20-30 FPS for landscapes like this than to have that 20 to 30 FPS on being able to walk in a straight line and see the same exact landmasses over and over and over again. It seriously is presets with set parameters on when to generate instead of how, or even just a general mapping as to how. I very seriously walked in a straight line in 1.13 and then later versions of Minecraft, 1.19, 1.20, 1.21. All I've seen is the same old mountain peaks, hills with a river valley streaking between, and then somewhere on those hills there'd be this one larger hill with a gaping hole in it leading down to like a lush cave or a dripstone cave. Seriously, cannot understand why they didn't let 1.17 cook for longer. The devs, why they decided to listen to the fan base at the time who was just angry and rushing them needlessly. Like, yes, we did wait a long time, but if we waited longer, we would have got an actual update which we were happy with, and that probably would have changed the entire course of Minecraft history. I'm sorry, what? Yes, old Minecraft's terrain generation was buggy. But everything surrounding this, I'd still prefer over what we have now. And it's not like new Minecraft's terrain generation isn't also buggy. And I'm not talking the early snapshots. It is still bad at times. I will very seriously walk in the middle of a plains biome or a flower meadow, and then just out of nowhere, just springing up in the middle of it, there will just be this barren, cherry blossom biome just on an extra tall hill. I'm not lying about that. I've seen that plenty of times now, a handful of times. Bedrock Edition especially, I've seen it there.